Okay, episode 3, still going strong. We've still got battery, everything's working. So cameras go off halfway through this, we'll change the batteries and carry on. So, talking about things going wrong, when things go wrong, and handling that situation, I often say to somebody, a company is only as good as how they respond to a problem, as how they respond to a bad thing.
Yeah.
Can you think of the worst situation in your career that you've seen where it was a real challenge to know what to do next?
I mean, I've witnessed some humdingers. I've been sat next to an individual, with a head dead on in a headset, coaching them when a humdinger has hit.
Wow.
That's been quite tricky. But before I answer that question, Mark, I have to say, and I know this is for those who are on a front line, can say, well, that's a little bit easier said than done, Marie. But we are kind of paid to be the dartboard for people, complaining at us. That is that's the job of a frontliner. That's what being a brand ambassador is all about. That's not to say that we should take abuse. We're not talking about that. But actually, we do have a responsibility to resolve customers' queries, inquiries, complaints if we work on a front line, and especially when we work on a telephone front line. So from that point of view, some of that is around mindset, of course. But of course, we do also need to be skillful at handling that situation when it does arrive. I think probably my worst experience, and it was a collective one because it was working with a resolutions team, a customer resolutions team. So they only had complaint calls coming in. That's all they dealt with all day. And there was a particular issue. It was actually a systems issue that had caused this problem for literally hundreds of calls they got in this one day. And of course, they were having to just say the same thing over and over again about, obviously using positive language, using a little strategy that we had taught them about. Talk about what you can do before you talk about what you can't do. When you give the bad news, therefore, it gets delivered onto what we call the good news tape, so it just softens the blow a little. So using all of the kind of fit strategies and techniques that we had taught them, although they were literally needing to repeat that kind of 60, 70 times a day. I think that was probably the most. It was a struggle, for them getting through that day, as well as for us, just kind of working on that front line with them.
Right. So we'll probably come back to that when we talk about company culture and how you support people who are in an intense situation hours on end. But that's the next episode, number 4. So keep it on the negative side. Have you ever said to a company, I can't help you anymore. It's just, we're getting nowhere. Let's call it a day. Maybe you'll never get it. Have you ever done that?
Well, what we've always said is because of our model, our model of success, which is that we don't just deliver training. We don't have any courses that sit on a shelf that we deliver. We start with literally a blank sheet of paper with what we call the FIT health check and DNA, the development needs audit, where we spend time up close and personal on the front line with whoever's going to be involved in the solution, and so we collate some real live evidence of what when we're in the training room, we can then relate it back to. How many of you in this room have had an example, had a situation where a customer has said or done X, and you've then had to be able to deal with that? And of course, everyone puts their hand up. Oh my God, I get that like every day. And so I think that because by the time we are sharing, the ideas, the strategies, the techniques, we are so confident that they're going to work because they're based on, we've kind of got that, we've contextualized the little strategy that we're going to share with them. So of course it can work, but the biggest job kind of pre the training itself is actually, first of all, helping people get the mindset right. Like, this is part of your job like, as a brand ambassador. Sometimes you do have to, take the bad with the good. But also, it is about making sure that you are sharing ideas and strategies and techniques with them that do actually work in the real world of business and not just in the ideal world of the classroom. So no, we've never had to say to a customer, actually, these brand ambassadors, they're never going to get it. We really can't turn this sour zero into a silk purse. We've never had that situation.
Wow. That's good.
I think because they're not going on a course. They've been part of the solution that we've built for them.
So it's more coaching
from the
and
outset.
training
Absolutely.
or across. Okay. So talk about a crisis like you did with that first example.
Yes.
Should everyone have like a playbook, a guidelines for what happens when everything crashes or
Yes.
whatever it is, and then also know how to take things to the next level, etc. Is that something you advise on?
Definitely. We always refer to it as a recipe. So as having a call, particularly if you're on the telephone, having a call recipe. We are fairly averse to scripting. Obviously, we realise we work with a lot of financial services organisations. They of course have to be compliant, so scripting is very important.
Yeah.
But you can still recipe a script. You know, the ingredients they put into it must be their own. Otherwise, you will just sound like a typical call centre agent.
Yeah.
And so definitely we recommend a call recipe that naturally, if you are within that financial services environment, is compliant. So yes, that's very helpful when you're dealing with those complex situations. But I also think I mentioned on a previous episode around emotional intelligence being the new kid on the business block, actually helping your people to develop their own level of emotional intelligence, not only being self-aware, but actually being aware of the impact that how they are behaving, the impact that can have on the customer, and vice versa, of course, other people's emotions on you. That's part of emotional intelligence. Is not just recognizing, being self-aware, but actually recognizing the impact that your behaviour has on others and other people's behaviour has on you. So I think that's a big thing for equipping them, kind of with the right skills and behaviours and attitudes to be able to deal with those really complex situations when things do all go wrong. Yeah. And also, I think that it's about empowering your people when things go wrong. It's about helping them to feel empowered to make, even if that decision is a small thing, like being enabled to offer that customer some kind of recognition of the mistake that we've made. Right. Whether it's monetary or whether it's to send a bouquet of flowers or some chocolates, just a small thing that can make a very big difference. Right. We always say it's low value, low cost to the business, but it's high value to the customer. Empower your people to be able to do that in those difficult situations.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So taking it off the telephone, online, because it can, after a bad experience, no matter how good the response person is, somebody can go online and write you a bad review or make a cruel comment. Yes. My tendency is, I had this once. It wasn't directly to me. I made a post on LinkedIn about a company we'd done some printing for or whatever, and there was a note further down. I used to work here and it went bust and I'm still owed money. I thought, well, it's not my fault. No. Should I empathise? No, I probably shouldn't. Yeah. What I did, rather than delete their comment, I just took the whole post down. Because it'd been on there for a week, it'd done its job. Yeah. Nobody looks at LinkedIn posts longer than a week old normally. So I just thought the best thing to do is just take that post away. Yeah. And then it doesn't attract any undue attention. Is that
I think that's really, yes, I think that would be a really sensible thing to do. Yeah. I think it's tricky, isn't it? Because attitude is a choice and it's our choice. And so if people choose to adopt that attitude online, there isn't very much that we, either as individuals or as a business, can do about that. Yeah. We've had in 23, almost 24 years, we've had one really wicked, it was all resolved. It was the company's issue, not ours. But it completely floored me, like knocked me for six, because it had never ever happened. Right. I don't know how many years we'd been going, but we'd been going for quite a while. But completely knocked me for six. And actually, it was my MD that reminded me, you need to start practicing what you preach here, Marie, because as you say, like attitudes is a choice. It's our choice. You can't change someone else's behaviour. You can only change your own towards that other person or that situation. Yeah. Yeah. And so, build a bridge, get over it. And that's what I had to do.
Right. Maybe I should do that.
Good idea to go.
Okay. So we're going to move on next to company culture. How do we support our hard-working brand ambassadors, especially in a hard time?
Yes. Yeah.
Good.